Hey everyone, I'm Mariana, and today I'm going to be showing you everything that I've read in July. I know I'm a little bit late with this wrap up, but better late than never, right? July was actually a pretty good reading month for me. I ended up reading 5 books and 2 comics, so let's get into it. First of all, I finished the Magician's trilogy by reading The Magician King and The Magician's Land by Grossman. Thoroughly enjoyed both of these books, and I had a lot of fun with the trilogy overall. I know it's a bit of a controversial trilogy. Some people really hate it, but I really liked it. If you don't know, The Magicians is a fantasy series that is somewhere between an urban fantasy and a more traditional fantasy land type of thing. It follows a group of young people who meet at a magic college in their late teens, but what I loved is that the majority of the series actually takes place after they graduate. And I think Grossman does a fantastic job capturing young people in their 20s. I don't really want to get into the specifics of what happens in The Magician King or The Magician's Land because that would kind of ruin the first book in the series for you, and I definitely would not want to do that. I am going to say that this book series is consistently engaging and it takes so many twists and turns, some of which are actually pretty dark, and I was impressed by how dark the author wasn't afraid to go. So these 2 books definitely kept me guessing as to what was going to happen next because I had no idea where this was going. I would say I liked book 2, The Magician King, a little bit more than book 3, and I ended up giving The Magician King 4.5 out of 5 stars because I just loved this thing. And then book 3, The Magician's Land, 4 out of 5 stars. I would easily recommend this series, especially if you like your characters flawed and with a lot of growth and development. If there's anything this book series doesn't lack, it's character growth, which is awesome. I already miss these characters and I wish there were more books in the series, and whenever Grossman finishes that King Arthur book that he's working on, I will definitely be reading it. Next up, I listened to Zodiac by Robert Graysmith, which, as you may have guessed, is a non-fiction book about the Zodiac killer, and we all know how much I like reading about serial killers. That did not sound weird at all, did it? I don't have a physical book to show you because I listened to it on Audible. And by the way, if you're not using Audible to listen to your audiobooks, I highly recommend it. I have been using them since 2013 and they have tons and tons of books to choose from. You will never run out of books, I promise you. And if you want to give them a try, I do have a promotion going on with them at the moment, so you can use my special link, audibletrial.com/impression, to get a free audiobook and a 30-day trial. I will leave all of that information in the info box below. Back to Zodiac though, this is such an interesting and fascinating book. I learned so much from it, not just about the Zodiac killer himself, but also just about how things worked back in the day, how investigations worked, how they approached things. It was all very interesting to me. If you have seen the David Fincher film Zodiac, this is the book that the film was primarily based on, and Jake Gyllenhaal's character in the movie is actually playing the author of this book. So the book is essentially a more detailed version of the movie. Well, the movie was after. You get what I'm saying here. The only thing that kept me from loving this book is that the writing was just too dry for me. It kind of reads almost like a history book, and I get that it's nonfiction, but I guess personally I'm used to even nonfiction books taking a more personal storytelling based approach to the subject, and that definitely was lacking for me in Zodiac. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars because the writing was definitely a little bit too dry for my taste. After that, I read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and I'm not going to lie, half the reason I bought this book is because of this glorious 80s VHS inspired cover, and the story is heavily inspired by 80s horror in general, so let's be real, there was no way I was just going to let this one go. If you remember, last year I read Horror Store by the same author, and I loved that novel. novel. If you haven't seen my review, I do have one on my channel and I will link it so you can check it out. So obviously I was really excited to read another Grady Hendrix novel, and though I did not love it as much as Horror Store, I still had a lot of fun reading my best friend's Exorcism. And if you're a fan of the 80s in general and demonic possession horror films, you'll have fun with this one as well. Now, I generally am not really into teenage school drama, but I have to say the friendship between the girls in this book is just such a pleasure to read about. Initially, I was not too happy that the author was taking such a long time introducing the friendship, introducing the characters, developing the friendship, because let's be honest, when the book has this cover and it's titled My Best Friend's Exorcism, you kind of know that there's going to be some demonic possession and some horror going on. So you want to get to that because chances are that's why you bought the book, and none of that even starts until a third into the novel. However, because Grady Hendrix took his time developing this friendship, I actually really cared about what happens with these girls and what this demonic possession does to their friendship. So I guess it works, even though I wasn't a fan of that when I was reading it in the beginning. The book does take a while to get started on the horror elements. However, once all of that gets going, I just could not put it down, especially when it came to the last third of the book. Now, as far as the scare factor goes, I would say this is more of an entertaining 80s nostalgia type of horror rather than actually scary horror. So if you're looking for something to actually scare you, this is probably not the book you want to pick up. And trust me, I'm somebody who's genuinely freaked out by the concept of demonic possession, so if this didn't scare me, it's probably not going to scare you. As far as the rating goes, I kept debating between 3.5 and 4 stars, but I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's definitely fun, it's enjoyable, and it is a quick read, but there was nothing about this book that really blew me away, even though I did have fun reading it. Now, let's talk about the comics. First up, Ladykiller Volume One, and prepare yourself for a mini rant here. I had no intentions of picking this up. I picked this up on a comic book store sales associate's recommendation. I came in to get some comics that you guys have recommended to me, but for some reason they didn't have any of those. I don't know why. I'm just going to have to buy them on Amazon. So I tell this guy I like Nailbiter, I like Revival, I like American Vampire, I like Witches, and he immediately decides to let me know that he's not a fan of Scott Snyder, which just should have been my cue to leave and not listen to his suggestions, because I freaking love Scott Snyder. But no, I decided to listen to what he has to say. And so he offers this to me, and he says this is about a 60s housewife who is also a serial killer, which obviously sounds like fun. I look it up on Goodreads. It has pretty decent ratings, and it says it's Betty Draper meets Hannibal. I'm sold. Well, let me tell you, if you haven't guessed yet, I did not like this comic. First of all, this is more like Betty Draper meets John Wick because she's not a serial killer. She's an assassin for hire, and that is a very different dynamic, even though just like a serial killer, she does kill a lot of people. Completely different things, at least for me. But fine, a housewife assassin is a very interesting idea as well, except for the story is paper thin. There is nothing here beyond the interesting concept, any kind of character depth, any kind of development, reasoning, none of that. All of that is non-existent, and I don't expect my comics to be literary classics or anything like that, but this was really paper thin. What's funny is that there's this foreword here that pretty much makes a big deal about how this gender twist is so great because the killer is a woman and she's going to be this witty and complex character that's going to break conventions and all of that. No. There's none of that here. The only thing other than the concept that I liked about this comic was the art. The style just looks great, and the way the artist portrays action is awesome. But I ended up giving it 2.5 out of 5 stars because as much as I enjoyed the art and as much as this is a fun idea, I need a good story and good characters. The other comic that I read was Paper Girls Volume 1, and this was the perfect contrast to Ladykiller because this was just great. First of all, if you are a fan of Stranger Things, you are going to love this just as much as I did because it definitely has those Stranger Things 80s sci-fi vibes. I don't want to tell you much about the plot because I didn't know anything about the plot going into this, and all of it was such an awesome, unexpected surprise for me that I think that is the best way to experience this comic book series. But it is a sci-fi adventure comic book. That's all I'm going to tell you, and you should definitely give this a try because it has such an interesting and unique story, and I really want to know where they are going with it. The characters are all memorable. Obviously, this is a group of characters, so not all of them get a ton of character development, but you get enough about every girl to understand what these girls are like, which is something I was lacking in Ladykiller. And there's only one main character there, and they couldn't even develop that. I'm going to stop shitting on Ladykiller, but this is great. I would recommend this easily, and I already got the next 2 volumes because I need to know what happens next, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. The only complaint I have about this comic is that the art really isn't my thing. It's not bad or anything, it's just not my favorite style of art. It did start growing on me, and the coloring is gorgeous, so it's not like I hated the art, but I wish it was a little bit more my style. But yeah, awesome comic book series. And the last book I read in July was actually my favorite read of the month, and that is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This was just such an adventure. I could not put this down. This was absolutely insane, and every single one of you who told me I was going to love this, you guys know me well because this was 100% up my alley. This was awesome, and I am going to be making a separate review on this because I just need to take my time talking about it, and there are mild spoilers that I want to discuss that don't really ruin the story, but they give away a certain aspect of it. So because I'm going to be making a separate review, I'm not going to talk about this right now. Just know that if you have a similar taste in books to me, you are definitely going to dig this a lot. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to say any more until my review, and I ended up giving this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I was so close to giving it 5 out of 5 because I just had so much fun reading this and I couldn't put it down, but ended up with 4.5 out of 5. We'll talk about this some more, and can we just take a second to appreciate the red pages over here? I love when books do that. I don't know why. This is just extra cool. So that's it for my July wrap up. Let me know what you guys think, and if you've read any of these books, let's talk about them in the comments below. Give me your suggestions if you can think of any books that I would like based on what I've said in this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!